Hey there, good people, it's your Crippled Critic, and this week I want to talk about Devil May Cry 5. So, Devil May Cry 5 is a hack and slash adventure game developed and published by Capcom. Man, I'm a big fan of this series. I played it since the first one. I love that it's both equal part anime and also gothic horror. I love the over the top action comedy. It's a really fun series. I mean, it's definitely gone through some ups and downs. I wasn't personally a fan of the reboot, DMC, and the series has been kind of inconsistent when it came to accessibility. I mean, I remember playing the third Devil May Cry and I could barely get through it until they updated it with a very easy mode. Thankfully, Devil May Cry 5 takes from all the good parts of the series, and it brought awesome gaming mechanics and, in my opinion, made this game the most accessible game in the franchise. So I'll start with disabled gamers with fine motor skill impairments. Yeah, in Devil May Cry 5, controls in the game are fully customizable. You can even remap the directional pad, which is pretty cool and kind of rare for a console game. A lot of gamers like me have different limitations. Some can only use one control stick, for example, so it's kind of cool to see them offer us more choices. In the game, you press the simple buttons to jump, to do melee attacks, and to shoot your gun. And although you can press the trigger buttons to lock onto enemies, I rarely had to do so because the characters do a good job of locking onto the nearest enemy on their own. And it's just refreshing to play an action game that doesn't force you to press every single button on the controller. Devil May Cry offers two new accessibility options that both revolve around the camera. You can choose to have the camera focus on important items in a certain level, or make the camera automatically swing behind your character. That last one, by the way, is really useful for disabled gamers with fine motor skill impairments like me, because it lowers the need to use the right control stick for the camera. Best of all, there's something called Auto Assist, which you can turn on in the options menu. Helps you perform complicated combos, getting that stylish combo, just by doing simple button commands. Sometimes certain skills will be done automatically. There are two difficulty modes in Devil May Cry 5, Human and Devil Hunter. You can also unlock other difficulty modes after you beat the game, but Human and Devil Hunter are the ones that you have access to at the beginning of the game. They are essentially easy and normal mode. Easy mode was seriously fun to get through. Something about the way the AI responded in the game was a lot more manageable than in previous games in the series. Combine this with the awesome auto assist, and I actually gave normal mode a shot for once, just to give myself a bigger challenge. Having all these accessibility options for disabled gamers with fine motor skill impairments is really great, and for me, it really made me feel like I could play the game my own way. And I don't think disabled gamers with fine motor skill impairments will ever feel hindered by their physical limitations when they're playing this game. Visually speaking, Devil May Cry 5 is pretty dark, even in daytime scenes. However, for gamers with visual impairments, you can change the light and dark tones in the options menu. If you guys remember when I reviewed the Resident Evil 2 remake, it had a similar mechanic for the brightness and contrast option. It just took some getting used to. This gives you more ways to customize the contrast and the brightness, but it can sometimes be difficult to see the difference between how it looks in the options menu and then how it looks in gameplay. It's still doable, just something I thought I should mention. I didn't actually see any colorblind options, but distinguishing color, as far as I could tell, wasn't really important to solve puzzles or complete a level. For the hearing impaired, you can raise and lower individual sound levels, for example, music, sound effects, and dialogue in the game. It also seems like there's an option to change the sound levels depending on your real-world environment, but I wasn't able to actually try this out, so I don't know how well that works in practice, but kinda neat. There are subtitles available, but just a heads up for deaf players, they're not automatically present on screen when you play the game. You'll need to turn them on yourself in the options menu. They are there though. Devil May Cry 5's gameplay is basically the same as it's always been, and that's not bad at all. Killing tons and tons of demons with over-the-top hack and slash action. Man, I love this series. Like many of the games in the later series, you can play as different characters, this time 3. Dante, Nero, and a new character named V. Nero shoots monsters with his revolver, but he also grapples with enemies using his devil arm. Dante is like a powerful swordsman, mostly does melee attacks up close and personal. And V, who's new, he summons 3 mythical creatures to fight alongside him. V is pretty interesting because his gameplay mostly relies on range magic, which is kinda new. If I had to categorize the characters, I'd say Nero is like a well-balanced character, Dante plays like a warrior, and V plays like a mage. V's gameplay was a lot of fun, and that's coming from someone who doesn't normally like to play as a mage character, so kudos to the development team. As far as the look of the game, I'm really happy they brought back some of the horror aesthetic that was really missing for a long time in Devil May Cry. And even though I wasn't a big fan of the DMC reboot, you can tell that they kept the overall look of that game, and I thought that was probably the best thing about DMC, so it's good that they kept it. So in that way, if you were a DMC fan, I think you might be happy about that. I won't go over the story too much. I did like it overall. The story, although a little bare bones, is a lot more straightforward than the last few games. The monster design is top notch, and the characters, although they look different because of the more gritty, realistic design, fit right back to how I remember them. So there's a lot to love about Devil May Cry 5. I've said it once and I'll say it again, Capcom often puts really cool accessibility options in their game. This one was surprising though, just because of how many ways you can tailor your experience as a disabled gamer. And if you're a Devil May Cry fan, I think you're gonna like this game. Alright guys, I'm glad to be back and look forward to new content soon. I've got some cool ideas I want to tackle. Also, I've had some footage of me at Dragon Con, so look forward to that. Thanks for watching again, and as always, I will see you later.